Hey everyone, just wanted to make a quick review for the two Voltron motion comics here, and this isn't going to be a review about the material that's covered within them, so to speak. It's going to just be about the actual product, the style of this motion comic. I do think it was a good attempt at the product because the voice actors, they were excellent at putting emotions in for the characters, and the music that they used, it did a decent job of setting up a couple of scenes, like the very first seconds of the first run, Revelations. You get the idea that this isn't, strictly for kids Voltron. This is a lot more serious, more mature, and sure enough, it turns out to be that way. The origin story being completely different and all that stuff. And then the cliffhanger endings of both of these, even though the ending of Revelations isn't a huge cliffhanger, the music that they choose there is very appropriate. Revelations, you have hope, whereas Paradise Lost, you're like, ooh, something's up. And all that stuff. But I feel like that they could have done a little bit more in here, because when the Robeasts and Lotor's forces arrive towards the end of Revelations, I don't think I was strictly feeling like that I was in the midst of an action scene. Sure, that's what I was seeing on the panels, but I didn't feel like I was totally there. Now, granted, this isn't a radio drama, unlike some fan-made Star Wars things that you could also find on this site. This is, a motion comic. It's meant to just show the panels of the comics and then transition from one thing to the next. So there's only so much that they can do, Plus, when I was watching this, I watched it with the text on the screen because I felt like the empty spaces were a little bit unnatural, and even though the voice actors were fairly clear, there were a couple of times where I'm like, I'm not sure that I can probably make it out what they're saying and all that stuff. Now, I'm sure that there's a couple of other nitpicks that I could mention for these, especially the fact that they didn't actually finish getting through all of the Devil's Due series, because this adapts all 6 issues of the original mini-series, which is also called Revelations. Then this adapts all 6 issues of Paradise Lost, which is part of the overall sequel series that came after Revelations, but you're missing the 6, yes, 6, not 5, 6 issues of the story arc Warpath, but the 6th issue of that, which is the 12th issue of this ongoing comic book series overall, wasn't ever published individually. It's only in the huge omnibus, and then it also doesn't have the sequel story arc that came sometime later. So that's one reason I'm actually going to be getting rid of them, because you're only getting part of the story, and as I was watching them, I'm like, I'm glad that I got this so I could sample a little bit of the Voltron comics, because that was the first exposure that I had to any Voltron comic at all, and when I saw them, I'm like, yeah, this is good, I definitely want to get these comics, but then I realized I think I'd actually prefer this in comic book form. This was a good sampler, but there you go. So I'm actually going to be getting rid of those, but I do applaud the product. It could be a little better, but as I said, it's not a radio drama. It's a cross between a comic and a radio drama. It's just, it delivers in exactly what it wants to do. So it's a good product. It's just not one I'm going to be keeping, that's all. Only reason I bought them was because I couldn't really stream these anywhere. I think I did see one person doing a reaction video to them, but they were like talking almost throughout the entire thing, and I don't think the product turned out to be that well, that kind of a thing. But still though, to whoever made these, you did a good job, I'm just not going to keep them, that's all, but what's wrong with that? Right. So, the next video is what my thoughts are going to be about the actual storyline that's comprised in those. See ya.